Hello friends, my name is Chinmay Deshpande. In this video lecture, today we are going to discuss about role of an embedded system and open source embedded system. Before that, let's discuss about what is embedded system. Embedded system is the combination of a hardware and a software. It is designed to perform certain specific tasks within a mechanical or the electrical system. Now why it is used? It is used to control number of systems, number of devices which we can use commonly. Now, the most important advantage of an embedded system is that it requires low power. Then, as far as its size is concerned, the size is small and the cost per piece is also small. The meaning of an embedded is nothing but something that is attached to the another thing. Now next, what that embedded system exactly includes, we will discuss. Now, the embedded systems therefore are, it is used to build a function with little or no human interventions. And specially it is designed keeping in considerations the tasks that need completion in the most efficient way. So these are few important points related to embedded system. Now let's discuss basic structure of an embedded system. This diagram shows a basic structure of an embedded system, which includes sensors, then actuators, display, clock, operators and control software. First we will discuss what is a sensor. The sensor is the device which is used to measure the physical quantity, and that physical quantity gets converted into electrical quantity. Let's say electrical signal. Suppose if I want to measure a temperature of a coil, then for that case I have to use a temperature sensor LM35. So what it does? It senses the temperature and converts it into corresponding electrical voltage signals. So whatever data which is to be fetched by the sensor, it needs to be stored in the memory. Next one is nothing but ADC, that is analog to digital converter. Now here, if I use LM35 to sense the temperature, that is an analog signal, and if I want to do certain processing, then I need to convert that analog signal into digital one. So for that case, we require analog to digital converter. The exactly opposite function is DAC, that is digital to analog converter. The digital to analog converter changes the digital data which is fed by the processor to the analog data. And the last important is nothing but an actuator. Now, whatever data which is to be obtained from a DAC, that is what is the output data, that data we need to compare with the actual data or the actual output which is stored in the memory. And based on that, the corrected or the approved output is stored in the memory with the help of actuator. So this is what is about the basic structure of an embedded system. Now let's discuss few important characteristics of an embedded system. This diagram shows important characteristics of an embedded system. Now let's discuss it one by one. First one is nothing but single function. Now already we discussed in an embedded system, it is used to perform specific function or the certain task. Let's say if I have an MP3 player. What is the use of MP3 player? It is a small embedded system and it functions as an MP3 player only. We use it to listen a song. We cannot use it for another purpose. Next one is nothing but a task specific or tightly constraints. This is very important. What do you mean by tightly constrained? Now, the embedded systems have some constraints related to the cost, related to a performance and size and the battery power. Now, the constraints are set before the system design and it may vary by the system to system. For a system, if the performance is the primary requirement or it is a primary factor, then it should be designed in such a way that performance is always achieved. So this is what is your primary requirement in some cases, in some devices. Sometimes, but it is very difficult to design a system with some tightly constraints and therefore it becomes a design challenge. Now, some of the embedded systems are designed usually to react to the external stimuli and react accordingly. Now, let's take an example of a thermometer. Let's take an example of a GPS system. Now that GPS tracking system, for that case, we required some external factors. So this is also one kind of embedded system. Next is nothing but embedded systems cannot be changed or upgraded by the user. So this is what is a very important advantage of an embedded system. Hence, they must rank high on reliability and stability. Then, now as it is used for a specific task and we have to process the data or we have to control the data otherwise. So for that case, we require either microprocessor or a microcontroller. Then we need to connect some sensors. We have to collect the data from the sensors. So there has to be provision to the embedded system with the help of which we can connect all these external devices. So therefore it requires IO ports or the IO connections. Next is, it is created to perform a task within certain frame. Let's take one example. Here I have mentioned one example. Car brake system. Now, in a car brake system, the time frame is very important. If the brakes are applied within a time frame, then there will be no accidents. But if the brakes are applied and if it exceeds the time limit, then it may lead to accidents. Then minimal or user interface, that is UI. Let's say if there is a faulty instrument or a faulty automatic washing machine. Now whatever program which is fed there through microprocessor or the microcontroller to the embedded system of that particular automatic washing machine, it works on their own due to the programming which is set, and it stops once the task is over. So these are some important characteristics of an embedded system. Now let's discuss few important advantages of an embedded system. First one, they are convenient for a mass production, and as it is used for a mass production, so therefore the price per piece it will be less. Then these systems are highly stable and reliable because we cannot upgrade or cannot change whatever programming which is made there through embedded system. The embedded systems are very small in the size and therefore it can be carried and loaded anywhere. This is what is a very important advantage of an embedded system. Then as far as its reacting time is considered, these are very fast and whatever power which is required for operation of an embedded system is less. Then they improve the product quality and the embedded systems optimize the use or the resources available. Now let's discuss applications of the embedded system. So here clearly you will see number of applications of an embedded system in number of areas. Let's say in the industry, suppose if I have an industrial robot to pick one object from one location to the another location. So for that case we need to do programming with the help of microprocessor or the microcontroller. So here what we did, there was a combination of a hardware and a software, so it comes under embedded system. Second one is a GPS system or DVD players. All these are the examples which comes under applications of an embedded system. Now let's discuss what is open source embedded system. Embedded systems consist of hardware and the software that we already discussed. So therefore the hardware and the software developments are openly shared among all the users. Why? It is beneficial to stimulate the new ideas and advance the embedded system. Now, who is the manufacturer of an embedded system? Whoever will be there. The manufacturer of any embedded development board openly share the code, openly share its hardware requirement with all the consumers, all the customers, and share the software requirement also. Embedded systems open source software includes. So what it includes? It includes first compiler, second one is nothing but assembler, and third one is nothing but a debugger. Let's discuss one by one what is the meaning of compiler, assembler and debugger. First one is nothing but a compiler. Now the compiler is basically a computer program that translates a computer code within a one programming language into another programming language, but without changing the meaning of a code. This is very important. We can define a compiler. It is a program that transfers the code written in a high level programming language into a machine code. Now, high level programming language is nothing but C, C++, Java, Python, which are more similar to that of our English language. So it can be easily understood by a person, it can be easily understood by a programmer. Now, it is a program which translates a human readable language or the code to the language that a computer understands. Now we know that computer understands only a binary language, that is in the form of 0 and 1. So let's discuss how the compiler works. Whatever source code is there, now the source code is what? Whatever programming that we made with the help of software, that is C, C++, Java, it is a source code. Now, first the compilation is to be done. What is a compilation? So in the compilation, it includes the basic translation mechanism and error detection. So error will be removed out with the help of compilation process, and after that it gets converted into a machine code, that is the language which will be understood by a computer in the form of binary, that is 0 and 1. So this is what is about a compiler. Now next we will discuss what is an assembler. Now this assembler is used to convert assembly language into a machine code. Now assembly language is related to a machine code or the machine language, so therefore it cannot be understood by a human being. A computer doesn't understand our language, that is English or the French. There has to be certain mediator which will convert that language which we have written in the form of code, either in English or any language, to the machine level, that is a binary language. Now the programmer cannot write the whole program with its complexity in a binary language, because the binary language has its own complexity. So therefore we need a program that can convert the human language, that is a human written language, or we can say that assembly language, into a binary language. The software which is used for that is called as an assembler. So this is what is a diagram which shows that the assembler will convert the source code, that is assembly language, into an object code, that is a machine language. The source program is an input of an assembler which consists of assembly language instructions. The output generated by the assembler is the object code or the machine code which can be understandable by a computer. So this is what is about assembler. Now let's discuss about debugger. What is a debugger? Now there are certain errors. The errors are also called as bugs that can occur in the program while doing it, while typing it. So because of that, it causes any program not to function as per the programmer's expectation. So therefore sometimes these errors are easy to fix. We can fix it easily, but there are some bugs which are very difficult to trace. So for that case, it is required to have certain program. These are the programs which is called as a debugger that helps the software developers to find and eliminate the bugs which are present in the total program. Now, a debugger tells the programmer what type of error is it, and whatever type of error is there, it gives its exact location and its exact line where the bugs are found. Advanced debuggers provide detailed information about threads where it will be located and memory being used by the program during each step of the execution. Now let's discuss advantages of an open source system. The very most important advantage is that low or the no cost. Now as it is freely available, there is no question of a licensing. So the cost which is related to the licensing is zero or it is negligible. So it can be chosen by small businesses. Second important advantage is nothing but simple license management. Now we would no longer need to worry about licenses because it is freely available. It enables us to install it several times and also use it from any locations. So we will be free from monitoring, tracking or counting license compliances. Third one is nothing but flexibility in the selection of a standard software. We can choose any software, depends upon its compiler, debugger, etc., and we can modify it as per our requirement. Then high quality software. This is very important. Open source software is mostly high quality software. when we use it for a particular application, the source code is also available, and most of the time we observe that the open source softwares are well designed and it can be efficiently used in the coding. This is the reason why we use open source embedded system. Availability of external support. Now there are number of blogs related to open source embedded system. Let's say suppose if I want to learn Arduino, if I want to learn C language, C++ language, if you Google it, you will observe that there are number of blogs related to it. So if I have any query, if I have any questions, I will directly put that questions on that blog and I will get the answers from the experts. So this is what is the very important advantage of open source embedded system. Thank you.